Two Cameroonian soldiers have been killed in the northwest region of Cameroon by separatist fighters who have claimed responsibility over the attack. One of them was a police officer who was killed in Koononi. He was about to travel to the western region of Cameroon, where he was going to bury his mother. His mother had died in the western region in Bafoussam, and he took permission to go and give the mother his last respect. Upon reaching in the west region, he was ambushed at Nkoononi and he was unalive. His gun was actually seized. The same time on Saturday, breaking into Sunday, the 17th of May 2026, the separatist fighters carried out another operation that led to the unaliving of a soldier, and the gun was taken and his bullet was taken, bringing the figure to 2. This is the region that the Pope of the Roman Catholic Church, Pope Leo XIV, went to listen to these people who have been suffering as a result of the crisis which fully erupted in 2016, when teachers and lawyers were brutalized, university students in the University of Biya were brutalized, chaos set in, the consortium was formed, consortium controlled the teachers and lawyers. Before they could realize, September 22, thousands of people, 2017, flocked to the streets in the northwest and the southwest region, calling for the restoration of what they believe are the then southern Cameroon. And in October 2017, some individuals were killed in the declaration of what the separatists at the time called it the restoration of what they described as independent in 2018. And in 2018, it moved to an outblown armed conflict to where we are today in Cameroon. The Pope of the Roman Catholic Church, while visiting Cameroon, visited Bamenda, which is seen as the melting point of the crisis, and prayed with the people of Bamenda, sent out doves to go as a sign of peace, and called for the government of Cameroon and the separatist fighters to discuss and to see how they can resolve this crisis. Several speeches were made in Big Mankong Cathedral in the northwest region of Cameroon, and the Pope left. It is 1 month after the Pope left Bamenda. Violence have not stopped. Kidnappings keep recurring in the northwest region of Cameroon. Cameroon is preparing for its National Day celebration, where in 1972 there was a referendum which the southern Cameroon, then known as West Cameroon, that operated in a federal structure which was agreed upon in Fumban, decided to come together. Ojong decided to merge the two systems to form a central system, where he launched a referendum in 1972. Some historians have called the referendum erupt from Anglophones, that the Anglophones were erupt. Others see it as a genuine referendum organized for the entire country. That referendum saw the burying of the federal structure of Cameroon and brought in the centralized structure where we are today. Now, as a result of that, the government always celebrates 20th of May as its National Day. This day, up until now, it has always been successfully celebrated in the northwest and the southwest region up until 2017, 20th May 2017, because on the 20th of May 2016, the day was celebrated. At the time, the conflict, the northwest region and the southwest region had not moved to the stage at which they moved today with the armed conflict. So they celebrated the day. Fast forward to where we are today. Because of the northwest and the southwest region, because some people came out on the 2017, September 22, to declare what they describe as a restoration, it now brought this day into a limelight, where this day activities were being disrupted by separatist fighters who believe that those who are organizing this event reminds them of remind them of how they were robbed as far as the 1972 is concerned, and number two, also make them to understand that the celebration of this day, according to the separatist fighters, it is repugnant to the values in which they stand for, which they believe according to them, that they are a different state, and so the 20th May to them is not going to be celebrated. That explains why in build-up of this day, across the northwest and the southwest region, authorities always put in measures to restrict the movement of commercial motorbike and also to restrict the movement of some commercial taxis in some key areas that are seen to be the hot spot. However, this time around, in the northwest region, there have been several attacks, and police officers, gendarmeries, the military officers have come under attack, and same time the separatist fighters have come under attack. Government has increased crackdown on this separatist movement because it is in time like this that they mobilize to come and disturb activities marking the National Day celebration. So in the northwest region of Cameroon, these two soldiers were killed. The military man was killed in Gabu, a locality in Du subdivision, Donga Mountain Division in the northwest region of Cameroon. Now the question many people are asking is, since the Pope came to Cameroon, the Pope delivered message that Cameroonians found appealing and touching in their conscience. They are asking why haven't the government reply to what the Pope message actually were. The Pope talked about the fact that peace cannot be decreed. The Pope also talked about the fact that peace is not a slogan. The Pope also talked about the fact that you cannot just take guns away from people and think that it will restore peace. So many expected the government of Cameroon, and are still expecting the government of Cameroon, to carry out concrete measures to see how they can resolve this conflict. This conflict has claimed the life of more than 5,000 people, as counting more than 5,000 people. According to official statistics, several people are missing. It has displaced 500,000 people externally, and internally hundreds of thousands of people have been displaced from the northwest and the southwest region of Cameroon. In 2019, September 30th, the government of Cameroon organized what is called the Grand Measure National Dialogue. This dialogue was to see to it that the problem is resolved. However, critics have it that this dialogue did not involve key stakeholders of the separatist movement to resolve this crisis. The government claimed they gave invitation to some hardline separatist leaders to come to Yaoundé and discuss. The separatist leaders who actually received this invitation also told the government that they cannot come to Yaoundé because their security was not guaranteed, because at the time and still now some of them had been issued international arrest warrant on their head. So they fear that coming to Yaoundé, they will be arrested. On the dialogue itself, several issues were discussed, but the core about the form of the state was not looked into. The government insisted about accelerated decentralization, whereas the separatist fighters, on the other hand, are insisting that they want independent or nothing else. Now, there are three sets of people in the northwest and the southwest region, formerly called West Cameroon. There are others who say that, okay, we want to stay in the union of this nation, want to stay in the union, but we want a 10-state federation. Others are saying that they want a 2-state federation. Some of the centralists or the unionists say they want the decentralization. Between where we are today, government has created the DDR Center, which is a demobilization center, the reintegration, disarmament and demobilization and reintegration, where the government has asked separatist fighters to drop their arms and go to these centers, and they will have amnesty. However, some have dropped, a good number have not dropped. Those who have dropped, some have been reintegrated back into the society, others haven't yet been reintegrated back to the society. The government has created also the reconstruction committee. As of the level at which they have worked so far, only their work can tell. The common man is here to feel their impact. So the government has also announced the special status accorded to the people of the north and southwest region. But to the common man, they have not felt. They don't even know the difference as of when they were in 2016 and the special status the government say has been given. In all of this, there have been a bit of concessions which the government has made, but many of the separatist camps see the government concessions as what they describe cosmetic solution. Each day, people are being killed in the northwest and the southwest region of Cameroon. A day hardly go by without people being killed in this crisis, either an armed fighter, or a military or a civilian. And the question is, how many more people will need to die before genuine discussion is centered in resolving this conflict of the northwest and the southwest region of Cameroon. It took the Pope, the UN Secretary General, Antonio Guterres, has come to Cameroon. The Francophonie has come to Cameroon. Patricia Scotland of Commonwealth has come to Cameroon. The then African Union Commission Chairperson Musa Faki has come to Cameroon. The Grand Master himself of Malta has come to Cameroon. And now the Pope of the Roman Catholic Church has come to Cameroon. Yet the crisis is still very on. People are being kidnapped by the belligerent, and the issue here is some people cannot go back to their villages because of this armed conflict, and a good number of people are displaced because of this armed conflict. The killing of these two soldiers is just adding to the list of several people who are being killed on a regular basis in the northwest and the southwest region. The crisis is described as an abandoned crisis because the international community has reduced its momentum, which they used to put forward at the early phase of this crisis. And if you look at across the board, frustration is growing among the people of the northwest and southwest region, who are principally relocated to the central, the littoral region and other parts of Cameroon. How long will it take for this conflict to come to an end? The answer, only the government of Cameroon will say. But at the end of the day, may the souls of those who have been killed, whether from the armed fighters or the military personnel, all the civilians, may rest in peace, because regardless of how you look at it, these are Cameroonians being killed on a regular basis in a conflict that even those who attended the Ghana Measure National Dialogue, like Professor Willibrod, Dr. Ning Ngwanyan, Barrister Akere Muna, also Barrister Agbonkongo Bala Felix, a good number of them say the Ghana Measure National Dialogue has not only failed, but it failed woefully, as the Ghana Measure National Dialogue did not take into consideration the foundation principles of what a dialogue is, that it was more of a dictum or more of a monologue where they had the agenda, the government had the agenda to just come and pass, and that explains why the guns have not been silent, and that explains why people are being killed on a regular basis. Cameroonians are being killed on a regular basis. Some say it will take only a new government to resolve this conflict. Others say they wait for President Paul Biya to listen to what the Pope told him and react. That the Pope has actually spoken, but the government need to react.